The tribal and the non-tribal conflict in Manipur has brought the focus back on the question of 6th schedule in the Indian Constitution. The Kuki community, they are demanding a separate administration for the hill region in Manipur under the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution. The schedule comes under Article 244 and protects tribal interests. The schedule was enacted in 1949 to cover tribal areas in Assam, Tripura and Meghalaya. It has led to the establishment of autonomous district councils that have 5-year terms. The Kukis believe, and the other tribal communities believe, that the separate administration will safeguard the rights of the tribal population through the formation of autonomous district councils. The governors of these states are empowered to reorganize boundaries of the tribal areas. There are 10 areas in Northeast registered as autonomous district. So the question is, what is a separate administration? Why was it created? Can new separate administrations be created? Why are they being opposed? Do they really challenge the territorial integrity of the state? Why has that demand come up now? What does that mean for tribal areas?
Well, I think, as you said at the start of the show, that, the 6th schedule basically consists of provisions for the administration of tribal areas in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, and this is as per the Article 244 of the Indian Constitution. It was passed by a Constituent Assembly in 1949. It basically was there to safeguard the rights of the tribal population through, forming of autonomous district councils, and they are, it's like granting them some sort of autonomy within the structure of the state, and the governors of the states were empowered to recognize the boundaries of the tribal areas. I mean, he or she can choose to include, exclude any area, increase or decrease the boundaries, and unite 2 or more districts into one. So basically, and in this 6th schedule also provided for separate regional councils for each areas, which are constituted as an autonomous region. In all, there are 10 areas in Northeast which is recognized as autonomous districts and all. Separate administration is one word on which is being demanded by the Kuki MLAs, and they are saying that nothing short of separate administration will satisfy what they are looking for, because they are claiming that it is they who are at the receiving end, it is they who are being victimized, and the government of the day, which is government led by Biren Singh, is someone who is only looking after the interest of the Meitei. So this deep tribal divide has accentuated the demand for a separate administration. I think they feel that then they will be in a position to work it around to their advantage and not be completely dependent on for most of the things on the state government.
Okay, sir, your opinion on separate administration?
Sir, first and foremost, I would like to put, this is not about a fight between a tribal and non-tribal. It's very clear, we should be very clear that it is a fight between the survival of an indigenous community in its own land versus illegal immigrant community who are not indigenous. And furthermore, in this talk, I will not talk beyond anything from this framework, because this is the truth, and if you want to talk or discuss, then I will talk in this framework. This is what I want to put in the very beginning.
Why is there is fuss about separate administration?
I think, first of all, I would oppose what has been just said, because if there is any immigrants in Manipur, there are laws within the Indian Constitution which, provide a framework to detect and deport such people. I really cannot take such, position that the Kukis are immigrants. The Kukis has been living here for centuries, and if you consider us as immigrants, then we have the right to separate from such toxic people. We have no relationship with such toxic people at all. In any toxic relationship, the wife or anyone who is in the receiving end has the right to live, and no code of law cannot, disallow such, such position. So let me go back to what you have just asked. Since Manipur became a state in 1972, there is a law called Manipur Hill Areas District Council Act 1971. Based on that, district councils were formed and they were governed. Within the first term, the council members realized that they are powerless. They are given just a few administrative positions or powers to rule, and there's nothing, to self-govern themselves. So in 1978 itself, they started asking for the extension of the provisions of sixth schedule, which all tribals in the state of Assam, and later on extended to Tripura within a few years, has to be extended into the state. And that demand keeps on going. And from the late 1980s, there were oppositions to these elections of ADCs, and the ADCs were non-functional for 20 years until 2008, where the Hill Area Committee Chairman Thongkholal Haokip says that, or convince some of the people that we can amend the law and add more provisions to it, and there is something is better than nothing. So there, of course, there was opposition from Okhrul and other hills, yet that election continues. And just look into it, the nature of this ADCs under the 1971 Act. For instance, it's been the last 2 years that ADCs elections were not here. They are just at the mercy of the state government, whether it's fun, whether or it's anything, it's, they have no power at all. There's no constitutional mechanism hardly functioning into these councils. So they were
Okay.
demanding for the last 45 years that they should be under autonomous councils.
Hasina ji, do you think that sixth schedule challenges the territorial integrities of state? Is that a correct perspective?
I think if we go back by sixth schedule, I think we need to really understand that some of the states are practicing sixth schedule, whether it's even Meghalaya, we are talking about the fact in Mizoram, we are talking about Nagaland. So I think we need to really go deeper when it comes to Manipur, because this has been a pending debate and no consultative review has taken place. And the outbursts of the violence have many, many opinions at this moment. So I think we need to look at two dimensions. One, reduce the violence, get back to a dialogue of both communities, reviewed what has been pending when it comes to the sixth schedule application. And the sixth schedule application is existing in many states in the Northeast as well. So if Manipur is going to apply that, then I think there has to be a consultative discussions of both the communities and how this has been placed and where is it getting stuck. And I also would like to bring this forward that for an organization like us who have been working on the issue of migration, we have never really looked at the word illegal, because migration is a right. And this has been one of the biggest global debate when we talk about migration, whether it's internally, externally, within borders, looking at the Northeast. In particular, we also have to understand we share international borders with our neighboring countries. We've had issues and concerns of rights of displacement across border, which is also the factual fact of how Indo-Myanmar at this moment is also having a push factor of a lot of communities coming from that part. So I think we should really avoid the word illegal, because human right violations that takes place when there is disturbances, when there is actually any kind of violence that takes place, it makes people move across states, across villages. So internally and externally displaced word is a much more friendlier, human right, appropriate word to be used. The other, I want to say that in this context of what happened to Manipur, I think this is one of the biggest situation of an unresolved consultative, an unresolved dialogue, the situation of very similarities in the northeastern states that we have, where we have people who have come before certain years of the demarcation years. So I think let's look at from that lens. I think even our panel today have given different opinions, but let's look at from a lens of a very harmonized dialogue, discussions that allow sixth schedule application in a state that has not been applied, and also relooking at how the sixth schedule is being applied in the state which is existing. That's very, very important. And I think consultative measures of states that are also, applying the sixth schedule can come into these dialogue to see the good and the challenge of it.